Get your bellies ready. You're back in my kitchen again today. We're fixing to do some bread today, some yeast rolls. But guys, it's gonna be something that anybody can eat. And this is a recipe I've come up with myself, just trying something out to be a little bit more healthy. So everybody, that way you're not having to worry about too much. So if you wanna know how I'm making these right here, you're gonna have to stay tuned. I'm gonna list all the ingredients for you guys. It's just basically the whole recipe is gonna call for 3 cups of some kind of flour. I've decided to do a cup of all-purpose, a cup of bread flour, which is slightly different. So, you know, if you're gonna be doing it, do it with, make sure it says bread flour. A half a cup of dark rye, whole grain, and a half a cup of coconut flour. So it should be pretty interesting. We're also gonna be adding honey, a dash of salt, butter, eggs, milk, and of course your yeast. So if you wanna know how I made them, stay tuned. Let's get started.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and tap that bell. Alright guys, let's take a look at the ingredients that you're going to need. You're going to need 3/4 cup of milk, 1/4 cup of unsalted butter at room temp, 1/4 cup of raw honey, a half cup of coconut flour, a half cup of dark rye flour, 1 cup of bread flour, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 envelope of active dry yeast, and 2 large eggs at room temp.
Alright guys, so now we are going, I've warmed up my honey, milk, and butter. Honey, milk, and butter, and I've put it in here and warmed it until you can touch it with the finger and it doesn't burn, but it's really warm to the finger, about 110 degrees. And I'm gonna basically go ahead and pour in my yeast right here. And I'm just gonna basically let it bloom. Just kind of stir it just a little bit, let it bloom on the side. And then we're gonna go ahead. Now guys, if y'all get this too warm, it will kill the yeast. So make sure, if you have to do it, I'm used to it by touch. So if you're not, make sure you have a thermometer or something and check it. Okay, so while that's kind of getting foamy and blooming, I always say blooming, but proofing. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and start putting the flour and getting it ready. So I'm gonna set this aside. All right, so now that we've got that going, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna add all the rye flour, all the coconut flour, all the bread flour, and then I'm going to basically add about a half a cup half of this, the all-purpose. I'm gonna mix that up. Add the salt, sorry guys, add the salt. And we're just gonna mix it really well until like all the flours are kind of combined together, okay? Now, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add the eggs to this. And I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of whisk that together, okay? All right. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in. That's good enough. And just mix this up. Now guys, we may need a little bit more of what's left in here, or we may not use it all. It just all depends. I think we should be okay. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and get this off of here. I'm gonna lightly flour my surface, and we're gonna knead this by hand. And we're gonna do it probably for around 10 minutes. And make sure it's still tacky. You do not want your dough dry. I always say this. If you'll take a look at any of my other bread videos I've done recently, I think I did the Easter rolls. I always say you want your dough still slightly tacky, just not soaking wet to where you can't even really touch it. But you still want it tacky to the touch, but not dry, because if it's too dry, you're gonna have very dry, unmoist bread, okay? So I'll go ahead and fast forward this and let you just watch kind of real quickly me kneading, and then we'll go from there, okay? All right, so guys, I've got that done. It is still pretty good tacky. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just slightly grease this and the bowl, and then I'll cover it up with a cloth and put it in a dark, dank place, or I usually use my oven with the light on inside of it, and I let this rise for about an hour until it's about doubled in size. And then I'll show y'all what to do next. We'll start shaping them into dinner rolls after that, okay? All right. All right, guys, so it's been almost an hour, and I had it in the oven. It's fairly doubled. So now what we're gonna do, already have like a, this is a big baking pan. It's greased, prepped, ready to go with baker's grease. And if you look at any of my other videos, you'll pretty much notice I'm trying to think of one. I'll link it at the top that suggests the annotation up top to my baker's grease recipe if you need it. But go ahead and have that ready. Let's go ahead and we're gonna flip this out. And you're just gonna kind of punch it down, okay? Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just kind of knead it to get it all, one, I'm sorry guys, I'm so tongue twisted today. Like it kind of dries more at the top than at the bottom when you do that, when you let it rise. So I'm just trying to get it all the same kind of, back the same consistency. All right, so now we're just gonna break these into the rolls, and we're gonna shape them and put them in the pan, and then we're gonna let it rise again for about another 30 minutes at least, and then we'll bake it, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. I'll shape them and everything, break them up, and put them in the pan, and you can just watch. All right, guys, so I've got them as best as I can. They're not all even, and that's fine. Let's go ahead, we'll cover it up and put it back and let it rise again for about another 30 minutes, okay? All right, so guys, I've got the rolls going in the oven, and I have my oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So I let it do its second rise. It's in the oven now, and I'm gonna let it bake for about 20 minutes. While that's going on, I'm gonna go ahead and take probably about 3 tablespoons of butter and a teaspoon or 2 of honey, and I'll slightly warm it on the stove, and I'll make what's called like a honey butter glaze, and then we'll brush it on the top with a pastry brush. You can do it right when it comes out of the oven, or you can do it 5 minutes before it's ready, okay? So let's get that started while that's going, and then I'll show y'all the end results, guys. Thank y'all, everyone. All right, guys, so everything is ready. I could have actually used a much smaller pan, but I don't know. I was not thinking. So I'm gonna go ahead and brush the tops, and then we're basically done, guys. And it smells amazing. I just love, guys, y'all, if y'all only knew, I love the smell of fresh homemade yeast breads. But this, with the combination of the coconut and everything, and I guarantee it is amazing on the inside as well. I will let these cool for just a little bit and finish this up, and then I'll go ahead and show you the I'll try to break a piece off and let you look. So just give me 1 second, let me finish this up, guys.